I think she is agriculture graduate from Banaras Hindu University, and then she took a master's from NDRI Karnal, and then she is right now doing PhD from Agriculture Extension Division of ICR IARI in Delhi. Welcome, Ms. Preeti Yadav. You are welcome for your presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. So I'm sharing my slide. Good morning, respected jury members of the session. Myself, Preeti Yadav. Today, I'm going to represent one of the objective of my MSc thesis, that is evaluation effectiveness of the farmer-led adaptation strategies for livestock rearing to climate change in eastern Uttar Pradesh through a participatory approach. It is certain that climate change is happening, and nowadays it is happening in a very rapid manner. And many studies have illustrated that how this climate change is affecting agriculture and the allied sector. As pointed out by FAO, that dairy sector, it could be provide a food security and poverty reduction to the small farmers, particularly in India. India, mainly agriculture come livestock production system is followed. And today I'm going to focus on the livestock rearing, how climate change is impacting them. This whole introduction shows many studies and prediction, which shows that how climate change is impacting the physiological functioning of the animals, how high temperature and humidities, these are having a detrimental effect on the reproduction efficiency of farm animals. And we all know that in India, the livestock which are mainly reared are cattle and buffaloes, and they are mainly used for milk production and some allied milk products. So, but at end we can see that the farmers, they are the ultimate sufferer of the climate change, whatever the impact the climate change is having on their life production system. But at the same time, it was embedded, it was in their experience and knowledge that how they themselves can cope up with these long-term changes in the weather and the climate vagaries. And that's why we taken focus on two things, that is farmer-led adaptation strategies and how we can evaluate those farmer-led adaptation strategy with use of participatory approach. So this was my study area, Eastern Uttar Pradesh. We have taken purposefully the Eastern Uttar Pradesh of the Uttar Pradesh region. Uttar Pradesh, as it is said that it is India's largest milk production state. With the Eastern region, it is highly susceptible to the climate change compared to the other three regions. They are mainly because the low per capita income of the farmers, the dominance of small and marginal farmers in this particular region, and there was not much studies on what adaptation strategies are particularly followed by farmers of this particular region. I have presented give the result of one study that Rao and his co-worker, they also pointed out that majority of the district of Eastern Uttar Pradesh, they are under the influence of climate change, and in future in the mid-century, the vulnerability is expected to rise even more. This was the sampling plan we have followed. We have taken 3 districts which were selected randomly. The districts were Azamgarh, Varanasi, and Ghazipur. And from each district, 2 blocks. 2 blocks were selected, and from each block, 2 villages. And ultimately, there were 12 villages, sampled villages for a study, and 15 respondents or farmers were selected from each village, which give us a 180 respondents type. And what we have taken farmers who are growing crops and having at least 1 milch animal. Here we included the crop component because in my major thesis, we have assessed the adaptation strategy for both crop farming and livestock rearing. But here I'm also only focusing on the livestock part. And then we also construct a separate climate change adaptation index for both crop farming and livestock rearing. For the major objective, which is I'm presenting today, that is how we can evaluate the effectiveness of farmer-led adaptation strategies by using a participatory approach. So from 12, there was 12 villages. So from every villages, we have selected 3 key informants, which give us that 36 key informants they were selected for performing a metrics ranking, which was used as a basis for evaluating the effectiveness of the adaptation strategies. And the principle and the methodology of quantification of indigenous knowledge, which is popularly known as QUIC, was used. That doesn't mean we have only enlisted the indigenous knowledge. We have used the principle and the methodology of this particular method. And in study, we have operationalized the effectiveness of adaptation strategy as an ability of a farmer-led adaptation strategies to cope up with the adverse effect of the changing climate scenario. Here I'm showing how we have developed that climate change adaptation index in a brief. due to the time constraint. So there was total 180 respondent. And then our first objective of my study was to analyze their perception. So we asked them whether they have perceived the impact of climate change. And out of 180 respondent, 81.6%, or we can say 147 respondent, they had perceived the impact of climate change. And after that, we have again asked these 147 respondent that whether they have adapted any adaptation strategies to cope up with this impact of climate change. And out of those 147, 143 respondent, or 97.28% of the they had adopted at least one adaptation strategies. And again, we asked them to put their responses on a continuum, that is whether they continued, discontinued, or never followed or adopted that particular adaptation strategies with the respective score of 210. And then finally, we have constructed a climate change adaptation index with a very simple formula of obtained score divided by maximal obtainable score. The second objective of my thesis was that we will enlist or we will delineate the farmer-led adaptation strategies. So we have delineated total 15 farmer-led adaptation strategies, and then we have given them rank based on the climate change adaptation index which we have constructed. This is the table which is showing the index score along with the ranking of adaptation strategies in livestock rearing, which is followed by the farmers of Eastern Uttar Pradesh, where we have presented a preferences of the farmers toward the various farmer-led adaptation strategies. Here, one thing was common, that use of shed for cattle and buffaloes, not necessarily only the cemented shed, they were using the straws or the locally available materials in their farms or in their home to construct a temporary shed for their cattle and buffaloes. But the preference, apart from that, now the preferences for the adaptation strategies are showing a different ranking in all three districts and even the overall district. So for the final, what was our concern was the participatory validation of the adaptation strategies. So out of 15 farmer-led adaptation strategies, we have taken the top 5 most preferred strategies in all 3 districts, in each districts, based on the rank which was secured by them. And the study, as I already mentioned, we had used the quantification of indigenous knowledge method, which was given by De Villiers in 1996. The major purpose of this this method was that we can evaluate the performance of any farmer's practices as well as any indigenous knowledge without any field trial. That is, we can not without any control condition, that we can get a feedback, experience or thought of a farmer itself. Rather than the laboratory feedback, we needed the feedback of the farmers. That's why this quick method came along. This method is a very simple method in which the very popular tool of PRA, Participatory Rural Appraisal, matrix ranking, it was used, but it was combined with a semi-structured interview so that we can have some numerical data for a further statistical computation. The key informants, they were the farmers who are progressive or who have a great knowledge on the livestock farming. Even we have included the opinion leaders who are also doing these livestock rearing, where farmers go for advice. And these key informants, they were asked to weigh all those the 5 most preferred strategies on these 4 criteria, that is effect on yield performance, the associated cost, the reducing the climate sensitivity, and easy in availability and application. A matrix, a block was made with the help of nearby materials, and then the key informants, they were asked to position the necessary numbers of pieces of stone out of 5, that is 5 from 1, if 5 means that they are contributing good on that particular criteria. And all the data we had then subjected it to one-way analysis to analyze the variability which is present between all 5 adaptation strategies. And for multiple comparison, we have used Duncan multiple range stat as modified by the Calmer to identify the most effective adaptation strategies. This methodology was given by De Villiers, so we have followed their method. What I observed that, as we all know, climate change is a global phenomena, but its consequences are specific to the region. Even in my 3 districts, which I have taken, Azamgarh, Varanasi, and Ghazipur, the preference for the adaptation strategies differed in all 3 districts. That's why we collected the effectiveness of adaptation strategies for all 3 districts separately, which will be discussed in my further slide. Even the region is that the perception level, even on all three districts, varies. The preference for the adaptation strategies varies. The extension contact, the socio-economic factors. There was a significant difference between all these variables in the different districts, which give us to rise that there we need to analyze them differently. So in the first district, that was Azamgarh district, the effectiveness of adaptation strategies related to livestock rearing in Azamgarh, where we can see that providing proper sanitation practices to the farmer, particularly in the monsoon season when because the incidence of pests and attacks is increasing day by day because of the heavy rainfall and erratic, even the irregular pattern of the rainfall, which is creating a very difficult situation. So proper sanitation practices are considered most effective in the overall effect. But at the same time, we have seen that in providing extra bath and shower to the animals for cooling them in the summer season, and providing a regular vaccination and timely vaccination to the livestock, particularly we are talking about cattle and buffalo, they were also not significantly different. These three strategies, they were not significantly differ. That's why we didn't put any rank on them on the adaptation strategies, because there was not a significant difference. So we can see in Azamgarh, providing proper sanitation practices along with regular vaccination and extra bath shower to the animal in the summer season was considered most affected by the key informants. In Varanasi district, the regular vaccination practices in overall effect was considered the most effective. And in Ghazipur district, but we have seen that in winter season, most of the farmers, they were using jute cloth or any clothing available to cover their animals from the cold wave, as they have said that the temperature drop in the Celsius, and it is even increases in winter season. But at same time, we have seen that extra bath and shower to the animals and providing fresh drinking and frequent drinking water to animals, they were also not significantly different. So we can say that in Ghazipur, use of jute clothing to animals to cover the animals to protect them from the cold wave, and extra bath and shower to animals, and providing fresh drinking water to animals were the three most effective adaptation strategies in the Ghazipur. This difference could also be due to in all three districts, the effectiveness, the choice of the strategies were differ. It also depend upon the experience and the preference of the key informants of the progressive farmers we have selected. This I already studied the result which I get in all three districts. So in conclusion, what I have observed, I can say that except for the regular vaccination practices, which we can say though vaccination is not truly an adaptation strategy per se, but these were the coping strategies according to the farmers, and they were helping the farmers, they were helping their farmers and their livestock, indirectly the livestock, to tolerate the stress during the adverse climatic condition. That's why we included the vaccination. But apart from vaccination practices, it was observed that mainly the locally available and the cheap remedies, and most of which could be prepared homes and can be easily available at the farm field, they were formed the integral part of the adaptation strategies. But they though lack some scientific temper. So then we can provide some incentives, some induction or training that incorporate the scientific part also of these indigenous technique. So that will be an immense help to the farmers. Now then, as I said, regular vaccination protocols and sanitation practices, it was considered affected by the farmers. So if we can provide them more training and induction on these, how to timely provide this vaccination, it will be of great help. Apart from improved livestock farming practices, in my study, I have observed that there was a good number, appreciable percent of extension contact between the farmers, but those extension contact was mainly for the improved practices. How we can increase the milk production? But there was not specifically any adaptation strategies related to climate change. If I remember, nearly 67%, nearly 67.6% of the farmers, they were having the climate change related advisory services. More of them was more focused on how can you increase the milk production. In addition, and this method, apart from experimental research procedure, we had introduced a participatory approach. Therefore, it was offering a valuable platform for both the farmers as an extension service provider. They both can discuss and they get a insight that how we can collaboratively form strategies which will be helpful for both of them. As we know that the ultimate ideology of an extension is helping people to help themselves, and quick approach to some extent it is helping in that it is inducing the involvement of the major stakeholders in the decision making process. And if we were going to take their feedback in forming more practices, that the acceptance rate of the adaptation strategies which we will introduce to the farmers, it could be high. I have put the final submission, or we can say implication of my study for this particular objective. I have differentiated them into 6 things. The first, a participatory approach to a climate smart agriculture. If we include more participatory method where all the stakeholders are themselves evaluating their practices, then they can understand where they are, what are the loophole of their practices, and where they can increase their participation and strategies they can introduce to cope up with the sustainable approach. We have to suggest them those practices and strategies which make the best use of their available resources, but at the same time, it will not exploit the resources. So we have to give them strategies which are according to their region or their resources available. Most important, collaboration, as it was discussed from yesterday also and today also, how collaboration of change agent and client is so much important, with the emphasis on the clients. Here we can say our clients were farmer, to identify their problem, to discuss and evaluate the solution towards the impact of climate change, and how a feedback is so much important in planning any adaptation strategies, not only adaptation strategies, any practices for the improve agriculture practices. And through this method, we were getting a continuous feedback. So collaboration between all the stakeholders is very much important. Then a sensitization of the local indigenous knowledge towards the way that, as already I mentioned, that can incorporate the scientific adaptation strategies to the climate change. If we collaborate both of them, if we can mix both, amalgamate both of them, then it could give a better result. And agro-regional planning for climate smart agriculture is very much important. Even in my study, in all districts, the preference for the farmer-led adaptation strategies differs. So a regional planning of the climate smart agriculture is very much important, because as we know, NICRA is introducing some contingency plan for the districts, but not all districts are included in those projects. So it's very much important that a regional plan is done for a particular region, and improving social network. This is we have discussed today also. The other reputed speakers, they have also said that promoting group formation in the village is so much important. If we allow them to have a group-based impact monitoring of their strategies, then it was very much important for them. How can we promote farmer to farmer extension, or we can say farmer to farmer sharing of information? In my study also, many of the farmer adaptation strategies what farmers were adopting, it was due to they get information from their peer groups, from their farmers, from nearby their friends. So it is very important that we can give a platform, or they themselves create a platform from themselves to discuss about the impact of climate change and how they can control it, how they can increase adaptive capacity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Preeti. Very interesting presentation, and thank you very much. And
thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, there are a large number of projects or innovations are happening around this. Anything specifically you have seen when you are in the field, you are conducted field research, anywhere you have seen something very quite interesting on these areas?
So my research was on both crop farming and livestock rearing. In the region which I selected, I couldn't see much innovation in the livestock sector. But in crop farming, I had seen many innovation. Like they were creating soil. The most important was they were preparation of soil burns. All these 3 regions, they were flood effective. So they were creating soil burns, not for demarcation of their lands from the other family members. They were doing it according to the slope, how the water is coming, how we can collect the flood, we can collect the flood water, and how can they can control that flood coming into their field. So in livestock sector, the region I selected, here I only see mainly the indigenous technology. They were using some indigenous technology. One thing I noticed that the vaccination, now they were very much, whenever I asked them what adaptation strategies you are adopting, after using shed, or they were saying that vaccination is very much helpful for them. Even there was some help from the state government in providing vaccination. Maybe that's why they were preferring vaccination, sanitation practices.
So I appreciate at the master level you have done quite exhaustive study, including use of quick method. Quick method is very effective method when you want to draw some conclusion about the field situations as you have used it. So I appreciate. And then what next step one should take beyond your thesis? As you are saying in livestock sector, there are not much innovations. But you know that climate change adaptation studies, farmers, they have their local practices. If someone start documenting these practices, you will find a lot of information coming from them, how they adjust to this one, this climate crisis, because they are having a lot of practices in every region they are having. Don't you think that a kind of a document coming for different regions on climate crisis and how farmers are coping with this at their level, and we can share this across the regions, this information, so that other can benefit. Extension function is to do it. Say, for example, even Eastern UP districts, you found something which farmers are doing can be useful for the farmers of some other regions as well. And then some other regions, if they are doing the extension, people can through KVKs or other mechanism, we can share this information. So don't you think that this kind of work is needed and we should do, just like we are documenting ITK and the local practices of farmers on climate and environmental, this kind of issues can also be done. What do you think about that? Quick response on that.
Yes, sir, there is a need. Even I provided these recommendation or implication to one of department. They had helped me in doing my data collection in that day. So I had given them that you should document these livestock rearing practices they are doing, and we can help them to improve those practices. We can't say that don't do it. This is not right. This is not. We can incorporate the scientific knowledge. Yes, you're right, sir. There should be a documentation of these technologies which they are following, the local practices they are following. And
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for nice presentation. It was very good presentation. I liked it. Thank you very much. Congratulations for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.